Hey guys, welcome back to the Geek XP. My name is Bran, and today we have an episode where I want to talk about what happened in Catch and Release and sort of my predictions about where this new plotline is going in terms of Steven Universe. In this last episode, Catch and Release, Peridot mentioned something called the cluster. And it sounds very, very, very foreboding. And so I started thinking about, well, what is the cluster? What is she talking about? It's going to hatch and shatter us all. And so I had to sort of pick apart, the things she said and compare them with what we've seen in previous episodes and what other people have said. And I think I have an idea about what she's talking about. So my thought is that homeworld gems, modern day homeworld gems, have a warlike culture. And maybe it's not even just so new, but one of the reasons why Rose Quartz really wanted to rebel against the homeworld gems, because they just fight and gather resources from other planets and just harvest from them over and over and over again. And that's one of the reasons why she fought against them and formed the crystal gems. That being said, thinking about things that Jasper and Peridot have said sort of give us insight into their mentality about this cluster and how I think it relates to fusion. If we remember in Space Jail, Jasper says to Garnet, fusion is just a cheap tactic used by weak gems to become stronger. So Jasper sees it as just a way for weak gems to become stronger for fighting. And then in this newest episode, Peridot calls Garnet War Machine, which means she too sees fusion as an application for combat. So this is two homeworld gems that have referred to Garnet in a way that insinuates that they think of fusion just as a tool for combat. This made me think again about the gem experiments that we saw when they found Peridot at the kindergarten. There we go, words. They found the gem experiments, Garnet got really disturbed, and then we saw them again in Nightmare Hospital. These things aren't going away, and so if we think about those were clusters of broken gem fragments. Now, the question is, well, why do they have to experiment on these things? Why don't they just all fuse together into giant gems all the time? And that's sort of a question, well, for the crystal gems, when Jasper showed up, why didn't they just form to Alexandrite and, fight her just as that? Because obviously that's the most powerful form. Garnet is extremely powerful for a single gem. And, Ruby and Sapphire, you can presume a bit that individually they're not as strong as, say, like Pearl or Amethyst, but together they're stronger than any individual gem that we've seen so far. So why not just form into Alexandrite? And I think it's because once you get into multi-gem fusions, anything past 2 gems, it starts to get unstable. Fusions past there, it's a lot of personalities, mixing and matching. There's the fear of losing yourselves in the fusion, like we saw with Coach Steven when we saw Sugilite for the first time. Pearl said the line, "You're losing yourselves." And so I could see that being a fear, that maybe homeworld gems don't want to do that. But then maybe it's just, after a while, perhaps those multi-gem fusions can't maintain themselves, or they go berserk. And so the homeworld gems are looking for a more sustainable method for persistent fusion for combat through the cluster. So, getting to my main point. I think the cluster is a attempt to take broken gems and put them together into a large, permanent fusion war machine. We've seen bits of it with the experiments in the previous episodes, but I think the cluster is something that was set on Earth a long time ago, and Peridot was initially sent to check up on it. She didn't know who the crystal gems were, or that they were even on Earth. When they first revealed themselves to Peridot, she, 1, didn't even know who the crystal gems were, and 2, was surprised that there were any other gems on Earth whatsoever. So, perhaps Rose Quartz's war wasn't a total victory in that the homeworld gems planted their cluster seed or whatever and left, always planning to come back and check on it. Seeing that maybe Earth not really being viable to make new gems, what with this crystal gem faction, but enough to plant this cluster and see how that works. So when Peridot says the cluster will hatch and shatter us all, we have to understand that when gems die is when their gem is shattered. So what she's basically saying is, like, the cluster will hatch, it will wake up, it will be born, it will whatever, and it's going to kill us all. She wouldn't say that because to her, she hasn't been on Earth very long. The concept of death would be shattering. That's how she would say it. So it's not like something that's going to like break the world. I mean, it might, but more that it's like an unstable, destructive machine. And I don't think it's a success. I think the experiment is still unstable. Otherwise, if they knew it was going to be a success, they would have sent more homeworld gems to get it. Just be like, okay, we're going to pick this up. We're going to get it. It's going to be good. And Yellow Diamond would have sent more forces when she didn't hear back right away from Peridot and Jasper. So I think it was to see if it was okay. And I think Peridot has found out that it is not okay. That the experiment is still unstable and a threat to not only Earth, but any gems on the planet. Because she's pretty sure that there won't be a planet Earth anymore. So those are my thoughts on the cluster. What do you guys think? I'm interested to see if you guys have any predictions about this upcoming plotline and the cluster, or when we might see Yellow Diamond, if she's going to show up on Earth. Make sure to show some love to that like button, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you know anyone who might like the stuff on this channel, make sure you send them our way so we can sort of share this all together. I'm interested to hear you guys' input. We're going to have more Steven Universe stuff on the way. I have a feeling that you guys like that. We get a lot of viewership out of that. So I'm hoping to have some more of that for you guys. You've been awarded some Geek XP, and I'll see you all next time.